Welcome to this episode of the Harpreet Singh Show. आज ਦੇ ਸੈਕਿੰਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਵਾਉਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ BC NDP ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਨੇਤਾ ਜੌਨ ਹਾਰਗਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਜੌਨ ਹਾਰਗਨ ਕੀ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਮਿਸਿਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਇਹ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਕਿਉਂ ਇਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਕਲਾਰਕ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁਣ ਖਤਮ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਵਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੌਨ ਹਾਰਗਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। Welcome to the program.
Good to be here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time. So John, a little bit about yourself. We know you are a father, you have been associated with politics for a long time.
Yes.
You have been behind before 2014, of course, since 2005 you were elected, but you have a long period in public involvement.
That's
Tell
correct.
us more a little bit about yourself.
Well, I went to university in Ontario and in Australia. I have a master's degree in history and political science, but I grew up on Vancouver Island, and I've always been passionate about helping people. And so after I got my degrees, I went into public service. I worked for the BC Public Service under Mike Harcourt when he was Premier. And I did a range of economic development files on behalf of the Premier's office. And over the course of the NDP time in government, I had increasing responsibilities, from policy analyst to director to associate deputy minister to chief of staff to Premier Dan Miller on resource issues. So that was my background. And when the government changed in 2001, I left government and I went into the private sector. And I was encouraged to run in 2005, and here I am today. I enjoyed a great deal. I very much enjoy my community, and now as leader, I get to crisscross the province, drop in on people's lives, hear their stories. And as a descendant of an Irish immigrant, my father came to Canada to make a better life for himself. I like to tell stories. I like to hear stories.
That's wonderful. Why do you think now it's time for Christy Clark to go? What are the major things which you feel which the public should know?
Well, when you look at the choices that she's made in government, the wealthy and the well-connected seem to always get the breaks. There was a big tax break given to the top 2% of wage earners back in 2013. Well, the rest of us, everyone else, was paying more, $1,000 more a year for your electricity, for tuition for your kids if you live on Vancouver Island, ferry fares. All of these small tax hikes have been hitting people hard, and wages have been flat. And the challenges are that long-term high-paying family jobs are disappearing. 30,000 fewer people working in forestry, a foundational industry in British Columbia, and those jobs are being replaced by lower-paid, less wage jobs, and those are the challenges. Again, I can only repeat back what I hear from people, and I think that it's time for a government that's working for everybody. I believe that the Liberals do focus on the top 2%, or the wealthy and the well-connected, based on their policies, and also based on where they get their money. And I want to ban union and corporate donations from our politics so that people are back in the centre again, not those that have the most money. And those are the reasons I believe that Ms. Clark has lost her way and she's not working for everybody.
The last point, what you touched about banning the union and big corporations and money. There are now, allegations on your party also that you said for United Steelworkers over $600,000. So how do you counter that?
Well, we've tabled in the legislature 6 times legislation to ban union and corporate donations, and the Liberals have refused to pass those bills. I have to run an election campaign, and I am running on the rules as they exist in British Columbia. And if anyone wants to give money to the BC NDP, I welcome that. And I offer nothing in return other than working as hard as I can for everyone. I've said that to the United Steelworkers. I've said that to people around the corner from my house. Thank you for supporting my political party. If we're elected government, we will ban union and corporate donations and put a cap on individual donations, and that's more democratic. It ensures that everyone feels that they're full participants in our democracy. But if someone running a small business struggling to make ends meet when there's a downturn in the economy, when they see big corporations or big special interests buying access to decision makers, that frustrates them, and they don't feel part of the politics of our community. So I think it allows more equality, and that's fundamental to my values. I believe equality, social justice, human rights, those are the foundations of my views of the world. Those are the foundations of the NDP.
It's time for a short break. We'll be coming back after this break and learning more from you as to what needs to be done and how you plan to bring all these issues forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
So ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੌਨ ਹਾਰਗਨ ਦਾ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਕਲਾਰਕ ਨੂੰ 16 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ। ਸਮਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਾਣ ਦਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ICBC ਰੇਟਸ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, MSP ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, ਅਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਮ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਹਿਣ ਸਹਿਣ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਖਰਚੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੱਧ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਵੇਜਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਵਾਧਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕਾਰਪੋਰੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਵੱਡੀ ਕੰਪਨੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਬੈਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ। ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਲੈਕਟ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ 6 ਵਾਰ ਇਹ ਲੈਜਿਸਲੇਚਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬੈਨ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ, ਪਰ ਜੇਕਰ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਟੀਲ ਵਰਕਰਸ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪੈਸੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਤਾਂ NDP ਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਸੌਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ। ਹੀ ਸੇਜ਼ ਹੀ ਸਟੈਂਡ ਫॉर ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਅਨਸ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੱਕ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਇਸ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਉਂਦੇ। ਹਰ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗ ਮਟੀਰੀਅਲ ਲਈ ਕੈਨੈਕਸ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗ ਸਪਲਾਈਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖੋ। ਔਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਡਿਲੀਵਰੀ, ਕੰਪੀਟੀਟਿਵ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਐਕਸਪਰਟ ਇਨਵੈਂਟਰੀ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਹਨ। ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਲੰਬਰ, ਸਟੱਡਸ, ਹਾਰਡਵੇਅਰ, ਡੈਕਸ, ਰੇਲਿੰਗਸ, ਡੋਰਸ, ਵਿੰਡੋਜ਼, ਮੇਸਨਰੀ ਆਦਿ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਉਪਲਬਧ ਹੈ। ਬਰੂਸ ਕੀਲਰ, ਜੋ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਦੇ ਚੰਗੇ ਕੰਮਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਅੱਗੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਅਜ਼ਮਾ ਕੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਵੇਖੋ। 604 858 1840 kenexbuilding.com। Once again, welcome back to the program. John Horgan, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ BC ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ NDP ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਇਹ ਨੇਤਾ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਾਲਿਸੀਜ਼ ਨੇ, ਕੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਏਜੰਡਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਮ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਅਨਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ ਜੌਨ ਹਾਰਗਨ ਤੋਂ। So John, as you were talking before and you said that you will work for a normal, common person who is living over there. Rates are going up, but the wages have not gone up. On the other hand, there is still a fear in the minds of the people that what happened in the 90s, if NDP government gets elected, and that's what the opposition also saying, jobs will finish off and people will again start going away from British Columbia, which is now a AAA rating place, and people want to stay here, there are jobs. So how do you assure the common man that, first of all, what change has come in the NDP ideology since then, and how you particularly as a leader makes it sure that jobs will be of priority?
First of all, I'm not sure that the BC Liberal message is a correct one. People are struggling today. We have some of the highest child poverty rates in the country.
Right.
People are living paycheck to paycheck, and the good paying jobs of the past are being replaced by low paying jobs. So I think voters are not interested in the 1980s, the 1990s, even the 2010. They're interested in today. What are you going to do today, 2017, to help my family and help my community? And those are the messages that I'm giving to people. We want to make sure the economy is there for you. We want to make sure the public services you depend on for your parents, your aging parents, they need seniors care.
Right.
Your children need to make sure someone's taking care of their kids. So child care creates, again, more economic opportunity. And climate change is another thing that I believe is an opportunity, not a liability. Christy Clark says, oh, it's going to bankrupt us. I disagree. It's an opportunity to create new and innovative businesses and technologies and apply them here in BC. Our strength, in my view, in British Columbia is our diversity. Right. We can speak 100 plus languages here. We have connections to every corner of the globe. Our ability to trade is unparalleled in Canada because of our proximity to big markets across the Pacific. Right. So I'm excited about our potential, and I reject the Liberal argument that things will go backwards. I think we're going forwards, and I'm looking forward to that.
You talk about climate change, that's a major issue which everybody talks about these days, but when it comes to development, and again, it again comes back to the same point that if jobs are lost on that basis, then people are a little bit concerned. So you, as being in public service for a long time and also as a public servant also, you have been working in the energy sector also, you know. So tell us a little bit about this, that still NDP is projected as a party which is anti-development, which doesn't want the development to happen, and this is what has been projected. How would you assure the voters on this part?
Well, firstly, thank you for the way you laid out my background. I worked in government on energy and economic development files, forestry, mining. I support industrial development in the right place with the right requirements.
Right.
And I believe that climate change is a tremendous opportunity for us. We can retrofit, for example, all of our existing public buildings. We can make sure that we're using innovative building technologies for our new buildings. That creates opportunities for young architects and young engineers coming out of our schools. That creates opportunity for construction companies to find new ways to build and being more creative with our natural products here in BC. That, for me, is an opportunity. I see everything as an opportunity rather than a challenge. When something is in front of me in my personal life, I find a way to get around it to advantage for my family. And I think that's what government should do as well. I'm really excited about the prospects of revitalizing our forest industry, for example.
Right.
And when we build schools and hospitals, we should be using BC wood product. At UBC, there's an 18-story wood building that's just been completed, the highest wood building in the world, built by wood products, engineered wood products, developed in Okanagan Falls in the South Okanagan and here in British Columbia.
Right.
So and out of junk wood, they call it, or waste wood. So there's tremendous potential for innovation in our economy using the natural abundance we have here. And I know the Liberals are desperate to cling to their jobs, and they're going to say what they're going to say. My message to your viewers is, I want to build British Columbia for everybody, and I think the potential is there, and I'm going to spend every minute of my day working for you and making sure that your family and your community is stronger at the end of my term in government.
Great. Again, time for a short break, but after this, especially, it's a very critical phase we are going through right now with Mr. Donald Trump announcing tax on softwood lumber, and we, especially in British Columbia, are going to be impacted a lot. What are your views? How will you tackle all this if elected? We'll learn after this short break.
ਘਰ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਪਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਬਦਲਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਨਵੇਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ, ਡ੍ਰੇਪਰੀ, ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼ ਤੱਕ, ਤੁਸੀਂ SK ਹੋਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਪਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਹਕੀਕਤ 'ਚ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ 6048259295।
ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ। ਜੌਨ ਹਾਰਗਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ BC ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ NDP ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਨੇਤਾ ਨੇ, ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਬਹੁਤ ਅਹਿਮ ਮੁੱਦਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ, ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਆਓ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦੇं। So, Mr. Horgan, what would be your plan to tackle with this particular issue? What we discussed about Mr. Donald Trump talking about this duty, and also a lot of many other things might happen in the future.
Very, very good questions. And again, my frustration with the BC Liberals on this file, they've been in power for 16 years.
Right.
We knew that the softwood lumber agreement was going to expire in 2015. We knew there was going to be a 1-year standstill to 2016. And now here we are coming up to May of 2017. And with days left in the provincial election, Christy Clark is trying to make it appear like she has a plan. You should have been planning 2 years ago. I expect, I think your viewers expect their government to be on top of these issues, especially one as important as a countervail duty on our softwood lumber products, affecting thousands and thousands of workers and communities right across BC, in the Lower Mainland, in the interior, and on the coast. And my frustration again is that rather than take action on the issues that are important for our economy today, the Liberals focused on natural gas. I know a lot about that. We talked about my time as working in energy, and the market is just not there. So instead of focusing on our existing industry and making sure it was prepared for the change or the end of the softwood lumber agreement, we had the Premier focusing on something that was never going to happen or not in a timely manner. So now what do? I don't believe in the middle of an election campaign it's appropriate for leaders to have a debate about how they're going to take on Donald Trump. We've seen as Canadians over the past 100 days, this is I think the 100th day of his time in office, that he will do anything. He's quite unpredictable. Right. We need to have a thoughtful, methodical approach to this. There are a number of tools at our disposal. The Columbia River Treaty is being discussed right now, which is about electricity and water storage here in Canada with the United States. There's a range of other issues. We have a very capable individual, Mr. David Emerson, who's been appointed as the spokesperson in Washington for the British Columbia government. I think that the better course of action, rather than be provocative, as Ms. Clark has been doing, desperate to try and change the channel back home during the election about her policies around education and health care and seniors care, she's instead trying to pretend that she can somehow affect Mr. Trump in the last days of the campaign. I think the right thing to do is to hold our cards to our chest, and after the election, whoever becomes Premier of British Columbia will have free hand and the support of all British Columbians. This is not a partisan issue.
Absolutely.
It's fundamental to our economy.
Right.
I think Ms. Clark's trying to make this a political issue. It should not be. It's about our economy. It's about jobs in every corner of BC.
Right. I'd like to touch on a few points connected with the Indo-Canadian community,
Yes.
especially when it comes to construction. A lot of people, about 70% of our people, are involved in the construction sector, and all of a sudden 15% tax was imposed, which kind of tamed the market for some time. But again, now the situation is the same.
Yeah.
So people are afraid, and people want that. Of course, that kind of instability which came should not
Yes.
happen, but this should continue on a stable basis. What are your plans? How do you plan to continue with this so that people are also not affected, and also the affordability factor also is kept in mind?
Well, firstly, I agree with you that the shock of the BC Liberals ignoring speculation in the housing market that was driving up costs. I think the benchmark price for a home went up $600,000 over a 2-year period, and they did nothing. And then when they shocked the market, it created instability in construction, in real estate development, single units, as well as big developments. And now we're starting to get back on a stable footing. But the price remains out of touch for most people. They can't afford to buy in the community that they want to live in. So our plan is to bring on more supply. And that is our 114,000 units of not-for-profit housing, co-op housing, market-built housing, working with municipalities and the development community. I want to see more construction activity, not less. And as we build new schools, again, that will create more opportunity for the construction sector. And as we build those schools, that will allow more homes to come on stream. We need more supply. That will ease the pain on the demand side. And also, we need to make sure we're focusing on speculation, not your passport. I think the Liberals made a fatal error in saying if your nationality was the issue. It's not your nationality, it's the speculation.
Right.
If you're in the marketplace just to flip properties, we want to stamp that out because that's driving up costs.
Right.
Where you come from, we are, as I said, our diversity is our strength.
Absolutely.
Why would we discourage people from coming and putting down roots here and growing the economy?
Right.
But when you focus on speculation and say, look, if you want to speculate, buy copper, buy coal, buy lumber, don't buy houses. And that's just our philosophy on this. But I say directly to the construction sector in Surrey and right across BC, we need to bring on more supply. That means more jobs, and that means more, again, private sector activity. And every school we build will need homes around it. Now we have homes around no schools, so we got to catch up. But I don't think we should slow down on building. I think we should be aggressive, keeps people working, keeps dollars coming to the Treasury to provide the services that we need.
A lot of our people involved in the trucking industry and Metro Vancouver truckers dispute has been going on for a long period. And now in major chunk of that community has solicited support to the NDP, and they're saying we support them.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
And also
happy
on the
about that.
second hand, the issue of the taxi owners and the drivers, they are also in a limbo right now because what happens if Uber comes over there. So on these two issues, what are your views?
Well, I have to be critical of the government. Ms. Clark was there for the photo op, and then 2 years have gone by on the trucking issue, and we haven't had resolution. That creates instability in families, that creates uncertainty in the market, which is not good for the economy. I want to lead a government that's focused on working for people and addressing the critical issues that they care about: healthcare, education, seniors care, transportation. Those are the fundamental issues that government should provide. And the private sector will unleash all of the economic activity we need if there's confidence that the government is on the right track in building community. Those are my commitments. Life's more affordable, services are there for you when you need them, and an economy that works for everybody. And I believe that's a winning formula, and in 10 days we'll find out.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
You too,
Thank
sir.
you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you're feeling stress, if you're feeling tension, if you're feeling anxiety, fear, anger, hatred, you must know your own intelligence is turned against you. So what is lacking is proper engineering. So inner engineering essentially means to bringing yourself to a state where all that you have, all the faculties of being human works for you, not against you.
ਜਦ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਰਥ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਕੱਪੜਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਟੋਰ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਰੋਸ਼ਨ ਅਰੋੜਾ ਤੇ ਸੁਭਾਸ਼ ਚੰਦਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਖਿੜੇ ਮੱਥੇ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਲੌਥ ਹਾਊਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਨ ਵਾਜਿਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਟੌਪ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਫੈਬਰਿਕਸ ਤੇ ਰੈਡੀਮੇਡ ਗਾਰਮੈਂਟਸ। ਲੇਡੀਜ਼, ਜੈਂਟਸ ਤੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਜਾਪਾਨ, ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ, ਕੋਰੀਆ, ਚਾਈਨਾ, ਯੂਰਪ ਤੇ ਇੰਡੋਨੇਸ਼ੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਮੰਗਵਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ। ਮਾਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ 4 ਦਹਾਕਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਲਓ ਤੇ ਉੱਚ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਘੱਟ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਖਰੀਦੋ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਆਓ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਲੌਥ ਹਾਊਸ,